My friends, we live in a world where darkness disguises itself as light, where wickedness wears a mask of goodness. Not everyone who speaks kindly to you has love in their heart. Not everyone who smiles in your face is your friend. The Bible warns us about the deceitfulness of sin and the reality of evil. Today, I want to share with you 5 signs that you may be dealing with an evil person. There are people who do not walk in truth but manipulate it, bending reality for their own selfish advantage. These individuals have no regard for honesty. They twist words, distort facts, and craft narratives that serve only their interests. Deception is not just something they do occasionally, it is ingrained in their character. Their words are carefully chosen, not to reveal the truth, but to conceal it. They will say what is necessary to gain trust, yet their intentions are far from pure. They understand that most people take words at face value, so they skillfully shape their speech to create illusions of sincerity. They do not hesitate to lie, even about the most basic matters. If telling the truth would put them at a disadvantage, they choose dishonesty without a second thought. They may not fabricate complete falsehoods, but instead present partial truths, omitting key details that would change the entire picture. Their goal is to control the way others perceive reality. They know that words have power, and they use them as tools of manipulation rather than as instruments of truth. They are not interested in fairness or justice, only in maintaining their own position and influence. When confronted, they evade accountability. If caught in a lie, they shift the blame or claim they were misunderstood. They never admit to wrongdoing unless it serves their interests. Instead of acknowledging their deceit, they double down, spinning yet another layer of deception to cover the first. They rely on the fact that most people are too trusting, too willing to give the benefit of the doubt. They exploit this kindness, playing the victim when necessary to avoid exposure. They are skilled at justifying their actions. If they are dishonest in business, they will say it was just a strategy. If they betray a friend, they will insist it was necessary. If they twist someone's words, they will claim they were only interpreting them correctly. There is always an excuse, always a reason, always a way to shift responsibility away from themselves. They will even use morality as a shield, acting as though they are the ones being wronged when their dishonesty is brought to light. Their ability to manipulate is not limited to words alone. They also use emotions to control others. They play on fears, desires, and insecurities to shape the way people react. If they want someone to doubt another person, they will plant subtle suggestions rather than making direct accusations. If they want to gain sympathy, they will exaggerate their hardships. They understand that perception is reality for most people. So they work tirelessly to craft the image they want others to see. They do not only deceive others, they also deceive themselves. Over time, they come to believe their own distortions. They convince themselves that they are not truly lying, but simply presenting things in a way that benefits them. They rationalize their behavior, convincing themselves that everyone else does the same. Their conscience becomes numb to deceit because they have repeated it so often that it feels normal. The danger of such people is that their deceit is not always obvious. They do not always tell outright lies. Sometimes they simply lead others to believe what is false without saying it directly. They use vague language, strategic silence, and carefully worded statements to create confusion. They know that outright lies can be challenged, but subtle distortions are harder to expose. They exploit ambiguity, ensuring that they always have an escape route if their words are questioned. They also surround themselves with people who either cannot see through their deception or who are too afraid to challenge them. They choose their allies carefully, preferring those who are easily influenced. If someone begins to see the truth, they quickly work to discredit that person before they can expose them. They use division as a tool, turning people against each other to maintain control. They know that as long as those around them remain confused and divided, They will never face true accountability. Such individuals thrive in environments where people are too trusting, too willing to accept words without examining actions. They take advantage of those who assume the best in others, using that assumption as a shield. They count on people being too busy, too distracted, or too reluctant to dig deeper. They know that many would rather accept a convenient lie than face an uncomfortable truth. In relationships, they twist words to manipulate emotions. If they are accused of wrongdoing, they gaslight, making the other person question their own memory and perception. If they are caught in deception, they accuse the other person of being paranoid or overreacting. They use charm when it benefits them. They create a web of contradictions, ensuring that those who interact with them never feel completely sure of what is true. In workplaces, they distort reality to gain power. They spread misinformation to make themselves look better while diminishing others. If a mistake is made, they shift the blame onto someone else, always positioning themselves as the victim or the hero. They manipulate situations to maintain control, making sure that others depend on them while never truly trusting anyone themselves. They thrive in ambiguity, ensuring that credit for success always falls on them, while failures are assigned to others. Their dishonesty extends even into their view of morality. They redefine what is right and wrong based on what serves them in the moment. They have no consistent standard of truth, only shifting principles that justify whatever benefits them. They may even use religious language or ethical arguments to appear righteous, all while living in direct contradiction to the values they claim to uphold. When confronted with truth, they react with hostility. They despise those who see through them, considering such people threats. They may retaliate with slander, accusations, or manipulation, working to silence any challenge to their carefully constructed reality. Their goal is not to seek understanding, but to maintain control. They thrive in secrecy. Darkness is their ally, and they operate best when no one is watching too closely. They avoid direct confrontation with truth, preferring instead to work behind the scenes where they can twist facts without opposition. They understand that as long as their words remain unchecked, they can continue shaping the world around them to fit their desires. There are people in this world who find pleasure not in goodness, not in truth, but in the suffering of others. They do not mourn when others fall. They rejoice when someone struggles, when hardship comes upon another, when failure strikes. They do not feel compassion, they feel satisfaction. It is not enough for them to succeed. They must see others stumble. Their hearts are hardened to the pain of those around them, and instead of offering a helping hand, they stand at a distance, watching with amusement as others fall apart. These individuals may not always express their delight openly. They may not laugh aloud or voice their satisfaction, but their actions and attitudes reveal what lies beneath the surface. When they hear of someone's failure, they are quick to spread the news. They disguise it as concern, but there is a hidden excitement in the way they speak. They highlight the flaws, emphasize the mistakes, and ensure that others hear of the downfall. They enjoy seeing someone they once envied brought low. At times, they go beyond mere enjoyment. They facilitate the suffering of others. If given the opportunity to contribute to someone's downfall, they take it without hesitation. They whisper rumors, plant seeds of doubt, and encourage division. They use manipulation to turn people against each other, ensuring that conflict continues to spread. If they see someone rising in success, they do not seek to improve themselves. Instead, they work to bring that person down. They believe that the failure of others elevates them, that by standing on the ruins of someone else's reputation, they appear taller. These individuals lack true empathy. When someone they know is struggling, they do not offer comfort. Instead, they act indifferent, or worse, they pretend to care while secretly enjoying the suffering. They might give hollow words of encouragement while hoping inwardly that the situation grows worse. They do not seek resolution, peace, or healing. They thrive in chaos. They view life as a competition, and in their minds, every loss for someone else is a victory for them. Their delight in misfortune extends even to those who have done them no harm. They may see a stranger suffering and feel no sense of sorrow. Instead, they find ways to justify the suffering. They tell themselves that the person deserved it, that it is the natural consequence of their own actions, even when it is not. Their lack of compassion is not limited to their enemies or rivals. It is a fundamental part of their character. They are incapable of rejoicing in the success of others, and they are incapable of mourning in the face of tragedy. They surround themselves with like-minded individuals, people who also take pleasure in destruction. Together, they laugh at the suffering of others, making a mockery of what should be met with compassion. They feed off each other's cruelty, pushing one another further into darkness. They gossip, they slander, they take every opportunity to celebrate failure. They create an environment where wickedness thrives and kindness is ridiculed. These individuals often wear a mask of friendliness, but beneath the surface lies something far more dangerous. They may pretend to care, but their actions betray their true intentions. If they are around someone who is struggling, they may pretend to listen, but they do not truly hear. They are not seeking to help, they are gathering information, waiting for the moment when they can use it against the person. They smile to your face, but rejoice in your suffering when you are not looking. Their joy in the misfortune of others is not merely passive. They will take active steps to prolong someone's suffering. If they see an opportunity to make things worse, they take it. They will give bad advice, offer false hope, or subtly push someone toward destruction while making it seem as though they are trying to help. They enjoy having power over others, and what greater power is there than being the unseen hand that orchestrates another person's downfall? They lack gratitude, and because they are not content with what they have, they resent those who have more. Instead of striving to improve themselves, they seek to destroy others. If they see someone happy, they want to take that happiness away. If they see someone achieving, they want to make sure that success is short-lived. Their mindset is not one of self-improvement, but of comparison, and comparison breeds envy, and envy breeds hatred. The most dangerous part of their nature is that they do not believe they are wrong. They do not see their actions as evil. They justify themselves, convincing themselves that others deserve their suffering. They tell themselves that the world is cruel and they are simply playing the game better than others. They see their own wickedness as strength, their lack of compassion as intelligence. They believe that kindness is weakness and that mercy is for fools. They do not recognize the damage they cause. They think that their actions are isolated, that their words and behaviors have no lasting effect. But their cruelty spreads, leaving behind broken people, shattered trust, and bitterness that lingers long after they have moved on. They create pain without remorse, destruction without guilt. They build nothing, contribute nothing, and only seek to tear down what others have worked to create. And when their own time of suffering comes, as it inevitably does, they find themselves alone. They spent their lives delighting in the pain of others, but when hardship comes upon them, they look around and find no one to comfort them. The same people they once manipulated, betrayed, and hurt now turn away from them. The same cruelty they once inflicted upon others now returns to them, and in their despair they realize that the path they have chosen leads only to emptiness. There are those whose words are not meant to build up but to tear down. They do not speak to encourage, to guide, or to comfort. Instead, their words are weapons, carefully chosen to wound, to break, to destroy. Every sentence they utter carries an edge, a hidden intent, a calculated sting meant to leave lasting damage. They understand the power of words, not as instruments of truth or wisdom, but as tools of manipulation and harm. They know how to disguise their destruction. They may not always attack openly. Instead, they weave their words carefully, planting seeds of doubt, stirring up fear and creating division. A whisper here, a suggestion there, and suddenly relationships are fractured, trust is broken, and reputations are ruined. They do not need to raise their voice or speak with anger. Sometimes the most devastating destruction comes in the form of subtle words, said with a quiet and deliberate cruelty. They take pleasure in the suffering their words bring. If they see someone standing confidently, they aim to shake that confidence. If they witness someone experiencing joy, they inject negativity into the moment. If they notice someone rising in strength, they look for a way to weaken them. Their words are designed to make others question themselves, to feel uncertain, to believe they are less than they truly are. They do not need to strike with their hands. Their words do the damage for them. They are masters of deception. They twist the truth to suit their own purpose, carefully distorting reality to turn people against each other. They take a simple statement and reshape it into something harmful. They misrepresent events, exaggerate failures, and minimize successes. They understand that the mind is a battlefield, and they wage war with lies, half-truths, and carefully crafted words designed to destroy. They do not encourage or support others. Instead, they discourage and weaken. If someone shares a dream, they respond with skepticism. If someone expresses hope, they inject doubt. They convince people to lower their expectations, to accept failure before they have even tried. They tell them they are not good enough, that they will never succeed, that they are foolish for believing in something greater. Their words become chains that hold others back, preventing them from stepping into their full potential. They thrive in conflict. They do not seek peace or unity, but rather division and strife. They enjoy seeing people turn against one another, and they use their words to fuel the fire. They spread rumors. They provoke arguments. They encourage resentment. Even in moments where reconciliation is possible, they find a way to reignite the tension, ensuring that bitterness remains. They know how to disguise their words as concern. They do not always attack directly. Sometimes they cloak their destruction in the appearance of kindness. They pretend to offer advice, but their words are meant to discourage. They claim to be looking out for someone's best interests, but their real intent is to weaken and control. They say things like, "I'm just being honest," or "I don't want you to get your hopes up," as if their words are meant to protect rather than to wound. They do not build relationships on trust and respect. Instead, they manipulate, using their words to create dependency, to control those around them. They make others feel small so that they can feel powerful. They destroy confidence so that they can become the source of validation. They keep others in a constant state of doubt, ensuring that they never become strong enough to resist their influence. They leave behind a trail of destruction. Wherever they go, they cause pain, they damage friendships, they ruin reputations. Their words spread like poison, infecting the minds of those who listen. They turn people against one another, creating divisions that may never be healed. Their words are spoken in moments, but the damage lasts for years. They never take responsibility for the harm they cause. When confronted, they deny, they deflect, they blame others. They claim they were misunderstood, that they were only joking, that people are too sensitive. They twist the situation, making themselves the victim, avoiding accountability for the devastation they have created. They destroy without remorse. They do not stop to consider the weight of their words, the scars they leave behind. They are not moved by the pain they cause. If anything, they feel justified in their actions. They believe they are speaking truth when in reality they are sowing destruction. They do not see the brokenness in the lives of those they have hurt, or if they do not care. They know that words have power, and they wield that power to harm. They destroy reputations with a single accusation, shatter friendships with a single lie, and ruin lives with a single rumor. They understand that a well-placed word can cause more destruction than 1,000 actions, and they use that knowledge to their advantage. They do not speak to heal. They do not speak to encourage. They do not speak to bring life. Every word they speak is a weapon, every sentence an attack. They bring destruction wherever they go, and the damage they cause cannot be undone. They move through life leaving behind a trail of destruction, yet they never stop to acknowledge the damage they have done. There is no moment of reflection, no pang of guilt, no desire to make things right. They hurt others without hesitation, and when confronted, they feel no burden, no sorrow, no regret. Their conscience is silent, unmoved by the pain they cause. They do not see the suffering of others as a reason to change. Instead, they justify, deflect, and continue forward without a second thought. They are immune to the weight of their own actions. Where others might experience shame or a sense of moral responsibility, they remain untouched. They do not lose sleep over the people they have deceived, betrayed, or harmed. Instead, they rationalize their behavior, twisting reality to paint themselves as justified, as innocent, as the true victim in every situation, even when the truth is undeniable, when the consequences of their actions are clear. They do not waver. They refuse to acknowledge the harm they have done, and if they do, it is only to manipulate others further. They view remorse as weakness, something to be avoided rather than embraced. To them, emotions like guilt and regret serve no purpose. They see no value in apologizing, in making amends, in taking responsibility. If they say they are sorry, it is not because they mean it, but because they see an advantage in doing so. Their words lack sincerity. Their apologies are empty gestures meant to appease, to disarm, to manipulate. There is no true sorrow behind their words, no intention to change. They do not seek forgiveness because they do not believe they have done anything wrong. They shift blame onto others without hesitation. If confronted about their behavior, they immediately turn the situation around. They accuse others of being too sensitive, too emotional, too weak. They dismiss the hurt they have caused as an overreaction, a misunderstanding, an exaggeration. If someone is in pain because of their actions, they refuse to accept responsibility. Instead, they paint themselves as the ones who have been wrong, twisting the narrative to suit their needs. They repeat the same behaviors over and over again, never learning, never growing, never changing. They betray, they deceive, they manipulate, and then they move on as if nothing happened. They do not stop to consider the damage they have left in their wake. They do not reflect on the relationships they have broken, the trust they have shattered, the people they have left in ruins. To them, the past is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is what serves their interests in the present. They see people as tools, not as human beings with feelings and emotions. They do not consider the impact of their words or actions. They do not stop to think about how they have affected someone's life, how they have inflicted wounds that may never fully heal. If someone suffers because of them, it does not matter. If someone pleads for an explanation, for an ounce of compassion, for a shred of decency, they remain indifferent. They do not feel the weight of their choices, nor do they care to. They are experts at justifying their behavior. They convince themselves that they had no choice, that they were forced into their actions, that their victims somehow deserve the pain inflicted upon them. They rewrite the story so that they are always in the right, always the ones who were mistreated, always the ones who were pushed into a corner. Even when the facts are undeniable, even when the truth is laid bare, they refuse to accept responsibility. They cling to their version of events, refusing to acknowledge any wrongdoing. They see no need to change. To them, remorse is an unnecessary burden, a useless emotion that only serves to slow them down. They do not believe they need to become better people. They see nothing wrong with the way they treat others, with the way they manipulate, with the way they destroy. If relationships fall apart, if people walk away, if they are left alone, they do not question their actions. Instead, they place the blame elsewhere, convinced that they are the ones who have been wrong. They are indifferent to the pain they cause. They do not flinch when they see someone break down because of their cruelty. They do not hesitate to inflict harm if it benefits them. They do not second-guess their choices, no matter how much destruction they leave behind. If someone suffers because of them, it is meaningless. If someone reaches out for closure, for understanding, for justice, they are met with silence, with dismissal, with mockery. They do not seek to heal what they have broken. Instead, they walk away, leaving others to pick up the pieces. They do not offer comfort. Do not acknowledge the damage. Do not attempt to make amends. They live without conscience, without reflection, without a sense of duty to those they have hurt. They refuse to acknowledge the pain they have caused because to do so would require facing the truth of who they are, and that is something they will never do. They wear a mask of kindness carefully crafted to deceive those around them. They know the right words to say, the right expressions to wear, the right gestures to use. They smile when they need to, offer comfort when it benefits them, and extend a helping hand when there is something to gain. They present themselves as virtuous, selfless, and trustworthy. But beneath the surface lies a very different reality. Their kindness is not genuine. It is a performance, a means to manipulate, a tool to control. They do not act out of love, compassion, or sincerity. They act out of self-interest. They understand that the world values appearances, that people are more likely to trust those who seem kind, generous, and righteous, and so they perfect the art of deception. They speak of integrity while lying, of loyalty while betraying, of morality while acting without conscience. They surround themselves with an image of goodness, convincing others of their purity, their selflessness, their noble intention. But behind the scenes, when no one is watching, their true nature emerges. The words they speak in public do not match the way they treat people in private. The compassion they display disappears when there is no longer an audience. They do not act out of genuine care for others. Their kindness is selective, conditional, and designed to serve their own needs. If they help, it is to be praised. If they give, it is to be seen. If they do something good, it is not out of love, but out of a desire to maintain the illusion. They crave admiration, recognition, and the approval of those around them. Their goodness is not rooted in character, but in strategy. They are careful to maintain their image, ensuring that people only see what they want them to see. Their words and actions contradict each other. They preach about honesty, yet they deceive. They speak of loyalty, yet they betray. They pretend to care about others, yet they manipulate, use, and discard people when it suits them. They build a reputation of righteousness, but their behavior behind closed doors tells a different story. They claim to be selfless, but every act of kindness is calculated. They do not give without expecting something in return. They do not love without an ulterior motive. They do not sacrifice without ensuring they will be rewarded. They exploit. If you see these signs in someone, do not be deceived. Evil does not always appear as a monster. It often disguises itself in charm, in empty promises, in flattering words. Be watchful. Stand firm in truth. Do not walk in the counsel of the wicked, but set your feet upon the solid rock of righteousness. Seek wisdom. Seek discernment. And above all, seek the one who is the light in the midst of darkness. May your heart be guarded, your path be straight, and your life be a testimony of truth.